One thing I love is a themed build. I have done so many of them over the years on this channel, from Barbie to Bratz to Disney themed builds. I thought I had done it all, but now that Paralives is here and I'm having so much fun with the build mode, I figured we should try building it in Paralives. So I opened my game and I started building an exterior. I wanted to go for a McMansion style, so I made a symmetrical shell. I added on some roofing, which I actually really liked this roofing type. It was super easy to add on, unlike some of the other roofing I've done so far in Paralives. I made a front balcony and used some archways below as spandrels to hold it up, added on some windows, added on some trim, and with the landscaping, I ended up with this adorable home in Paralives. I love this home so much. I feel like every time I build in Paralives, I learn a little more, things get a little easier, and I like this house. I could definitely see this being fit for our Disney princesses. I've also already gone ahead and made a layout for this challenge. I went for a closed concept floor plan, so each room can really have a different theme, but overall it's going to be a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. And for all the different themes, I went ahead and made this wheel with all of the different Disney princesses on it, plus Elsa and Anna. I just feel weird leaving them out. So let's go ahead and spin for the first room and we'll see what we're gonna do. Mulan. This is going to be so pretty. We're gonna end up using lots of red tones, pink tones. I'm gonna try and use some Chinese inspired decor, and I would also somehow like to incorporate dragon imagery and weapons like her sword. So I'm thinking for Mulan, I'm gonna do this main area here. This can be like the main entry. It'll also be a main seating living area down here. Oh, by the way, actually first, let me show you how I did these stairs. When I first started building in Paralives, I thought the stairs weren't customizable. I thought you only had to go straight up and straight down. But to get this specific stair look, all you have to do is build a room. You have to click on the middle of the room and bring up the flooring. Then you have to go in and use the separator tool to get rid of those walls. And this is where we're going to add our first set of stairs. You want this to go about halfway up the original wall height, because then you're going to go in and add another set of stairs on the platform that we made. And there you go. That's how you can build these wraparound stairs in Paralives. So I'm going to start off by changing up the flooring. And I think first for my wallpaper, I'm going to try this pale pink. I'm thinking a lot of my decor is going to be red, and having the pink wallpaper might complement that really well. One thing I know I want to incorporate are these Chinese lantern lights. I think they're so pretty and I feel like they're really gonna match our aesthetic here, but unfortunately right now we don't have any of those in game. So what I'm gonna do instead is take this ceiling light, and I changed all of these swatches over here to red. I'm doing the same thing to this other one, so we have some differences in height, and then I'm trying to find something to create like the tassel part underneath the lantern, and I found this hanging plant which I changed the swatch to red, and I'm just going to try and shrink it, so we'll just have the tassel part showing, hopefully. I wanted to change the color of the plant, but unfortunately I can only change the planter for that. But for now, that's gonna have to be our lanterns. I did say too I wanted to include the swords, so I'm gonna add this here. Maybe we have one on each side. In the middle of the room, I'm gonna use this rug, which I went in and matched the red to the same red I used for the lanterns. I'm thinking for the couch we go with gray, but then I can come in and add a bunch of red pillows that match the rug. Oh, maybe behind here we could add a divider. I'll just bring the couch forward a little bit and we can stick that back there. And we already need some plants in this room, so I think I'm gonna try and use this one with these little pink flowers on it. I'm gonna actually size this up, and I just shifted everything over a little bit so I can hopefully add this here in the corner. I'm gonna add a console table right here, or what about a fireplace? And then above the fireplace I can add this mirror. I don't think I want to do a TV area here. I have this whole living space upstairs too, so maybe we can do it there instead. So for now we'll add the mirror. I want to add some clutter on top of the fireplace. I think we could add a bookshelf right here, but I want it to match the divider. So I'm just grabbing the color of the frame and I'll add that to the color of the shelves. I think here we could use a plant, and I don't have the option for wall lanterns, but I could use this one. It's kind of like a half version of the ceiling lights. Beside the couch I'm adding this lamp, and I realized too, changing the color of the swatches, there's actually a bulb option here. So if you want to come in and change the lighting color, that is how you would do it. And then if I changed it to nighttime, you can see now we have this red lighting, which I always think looks so good in decorating games. I love when you can change the color of the lights. I do wish it was visible in the daytime though. I wish it gave off a little bit of a red glow. I'm looking for a nice sassy picture of Mushu that we can put on the wall, and I like this one where he's reading the paper. We could make like a reading area out of that. So over on this side, I'm gonna pick a fancy frame. frame. A lot of here, I'm gonna make this bigger, and I've uploaded my picture of Mushu. This is so funny. I want this to be a pretty big picture because then I can find some fancy chairs like this. I want to change the swatch of them. Maybe we could do red. I'll add a table in between. I'll make the table a little bit bigger. And then on there, we can add a couple of the newspapers. I'm gonna add the lanterns back. I added some of those plants again. I need to add some curtains, and I'm also bringing over some of the lanterns. I also want to add another bookshelf on this side, but I want it to line up with my stairs. So using the toggle tool, I'm just gonna play around with the shape here. I also want it to be a little bigger, so I'm gonna stretch it like that. And I'm customizing these swatches so it fits my space a little better. Now I need to clutter up this shelf, and I want to add in some frames of Mulan and Mushu. And this is how our Mulan inspired room turned out. I grabbed some pictures that I added onto the frames on the bookshelf, and I think they look really cute. I've been loving being able to personalize my builds at this level. Like the Mushu newspaper area, I love. Near the front door, I also added this shelf with some slippers, some more newspapers. Going up the stairs, I added a gallery wall, and I also realized I can also add items onto this little landing part of the stairs I made. So obviously I added a plant, but I could also add like a little rug here if I wanted. I like that I'm able to decorate on those. And again, here is the seating area. This is so pretty so far. I'm excited to see who's gonna be next. So I'm thinking next we could go and do the kitchen and dining, which would be through into that room there. We can do both of them in here. I feel like this is enough room for a kitchen and dining room. So spinning for the kitchen, and we're going to be doing Aurora. All right, so for Princess Aurora, aka Sleeping Beauty, I feel like this is going to have a bit of an older style. We can incorporate the animals like the birds. We can do rose decor, maybe if we can find a spindle. And we have to incorporate the 3 fairy godmothers. This is actually going to work because I feel like we could keep the same pink over here, or we could even try and do this rose wallpaper. I've played around customizing some of the swatches, and I feel like this looks really pretty. I'm gonna add some curtains, but I want the rod to match the baseboard color, and then we'll pull those down to match the windows. I'll have to pull these ones across a little bit, and I think what I want to do first is add in the essentials. So I'm gonna grab some counters first. I think I want my counters to go on this wall, but I am having a little bit of glitching from the wall behind. That's gonna be an easy fix here though, because I can click on the wall and increase the thickness of it, and that way we're not gonna see any of the glitching going on behind. So the glitching is all gone. You can barely even tell it's a different thickness, and now I can properly get my counters where I want them. The thing with this room is I don't really want to get rid of my curtains, so I'm kind of trying to navigate around those. So I'm gonna have counters on this side. I'll have counters over here too. I might bring this in so I can put a fridge in the corner. I'm gonna use this one, and I think I'll put a sink here. Then on this side, I'm gonna bring this in so that we can add an oven. I think I'll add some chandeliers over here. I'm also gonna add some cabinets, but I need this one to be a little smaller so it can fit over top of the fridge. I don't love how this archway is looking in between the cabinets, so I'm actually just gonna add the curtain there. And I also added some vines going over top of the cabinets. Then in the middle, we can add our dining table. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. I'll add in the chairs. In the middle, we can add some more of the roses. And I wanna start adding some of the animal decor, like the duck candle. And there's also these birds we can add. Maybe I'll put them over here on this barrel. Oh no, this one kind of fell down. It looks like he's doing a nosedive. Here, let me help you. I'll just get you right back up where you're supposed to be. On here, we could also add a picnic basket. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. I think I'll make the birds a little smaller too. We definitely need more plants in here. I added a big mirror right here, and I'm wondering if I could use that as a frame. So I've clicked on it. I'm gonna use the toggle tool, and then I'm adding a framed picture behind it. I need to bring this back just so that we can see the frame coming through. Now I can go ahead and add my picture here, and my frame is gonna look a lot better. So now our Sleeping Beauty picture looks perfect in that frame. I obviously have not found a spindle, but I did find this wheel, so I'm gonna put that against the barrel. And I really want to add a little spot where Para could sleep. So like, I feel like they could take a nap on this. If it's a Sleeping Beauty dining room, we need a place for her to sleep. I have not been able to find anything for the fairy godmothers, but I just found this little pair of heels. So I think what I'll do is shrink them so they're really small, and then I'll add 3 of them here, and I'll change the color to match. So we've got the red. I'm gonna change one of them to blue, and the other one is green. And now we just have the tiny little pairs of heels for the fairy godmothers. Okay, so we have our Sleeping Beauty kitchen slash dining room. Here it is to the other side. They've got everything they need here. I like that wallpaper swatch that I chose. This has been so fun so far. Let's go spin for another room. So spinning again for the next one, we're gonna do Ariel. Ooh, this is gonna be the first mermaid-inspired room in Paralives. So obviously Ariel is the Little Mermaid. We're gonna be doing mermaid decor, ocean themes, and I'm thinking for her we could do a storage slash like treasure room. I have this room over here to this side, and I'm thinking this is where our treasure room could be. I want to keep with the pastels, so I'm gonna make a custom swatch for my wallpaper, and I'm gonna keep this part right where it is on the color wheel. That way we're gonna keep this same saturation, and it'll look really cohesive with the other wallpaper that we have. I'm gonna use my same curtains in here, so I'll pull those across. I think I still will add some seating here, so I'm gonna use the same little couch that I had in the other room, but I want to add in some different pillows on this one. I downloaded these custom star pillows, which I think are adorable. I think we could go heavy on the plants in this one, specifically this snake plant, because to me that kind of looks like seaweed. Same as this one, I think we could get away with this custom succulent I have. I'm gonna add some fairy lights going on the windows, and I might also add this here too. I feel like I wouldn't normally cover the window with these, but I kind of like how they look above the couch. On this wall, I'm gonna add a clock, and I just changed the pillows on the backrest to match Ariel's hair a little more. That way we could tie in some red, and that'll match the room beside us for Mulan. You guys, I just figured out the coolest thing. Look at this rug I just made. Okay, let me break down how I did this. So I found this picture of a seashell, and then I brought it into Illustrator, and I'm using the pen tool to like trace around it. And how do I explain this? Okay, so when I saved the picture from Pinterest, it was a JPEG, meaning we have this white border around it. But since I trace this in Illustrator, now I can make a clipping mask, and I can export this now as a PNG with a transparent background. I never really thought I'd be doing an Illustrator tutorial on YouTube, but anyway, I exported this as a PNG. Alternatively, sometimes you can come onto Google and just search like PNG and you'll find the file. But anyway, using the customizable carpet mod, which I showed you guys how to download in my last video, when I uploaded this as a PNG, you can't see the background. I did it kind of messily so you can see some of the white lines because I didn't really think it was gonna work. But how cool is that? Now I can just hide it underneath my couch and I have a little shell rug. Now I'm wondering, because there's also a pillow. Oh, okay, I thought it would maybe have the shell shape, which like it kind of does. I just tried to make a Sebastian pillow and it kind of worked. Stop it right now. This is so funny. I can even make them bigger. That's hilarious. Okay, hold on a second. I'm sorry to Ariel because her room is about to turn into like a tester room, but let me take the toggle tool again. Then I could rotate this and lift it up. Wait, hold on. Let me put it against the wall. So I've rotated it up. I'm gonna push it back towards the wall. Realistically, I probably could have just used like, yeah, a poster. Never mind. This is way easier. My goal here is I'm making a headboard. There's a bed in Paralives without a headboard. You guys, every time I play this game, my mind is just like blown. How cute is that? Okay, well, this was not supposed to be a bedroom, but like as if I'm about to delete that. So instead of the archway, I'm gonna replace it with some double doors. I can add in this fancy table. I do also have this matching vanity, which is perfect for the Little Mermaid. This is a custom content set I downloaded, but it's actually by the makers of Paralives, and it was included during the early access launch, so you can find it on the Steam Workshop. I'm gonna change the swatches of my chair, so we'll change the seat, and I actually downloaded a bunch of beauty clutter, so I can add some of that on the vanity. I have some makeup brushes. I did still also want to include some clutter, so I'm gonna make some shelves going on top of the vanity. On here, I could include some boxes. She really collects like anything, especially stuff from the human world, so I could add books. We could add this little ring box. Ooh, a fork. We definitely need one of those. I'm adding a teapot and mugs, like literally just random stuff. On this wall, I'm gonna add a bookshelf. I think some ottomans over here would be cute too. And there we go. Now we have our room for Ariel. This was a good room. We learned a lot in here. I'm so excited about that pillow trick and the rug trick. Also the seashell headboard. I've wanted a seashell headboard bed for years. And the fact that I can recreate a mermaid aesthetic room in Paralives is very exciting to me. Okay, but let's move on from here. Again, did not mean for it to be a bedroom, but look how cute and cohesive the house is so far. But let's go ahead and see who's next. So we're gonna be building for Rapunzel. Okay, I think she could probably get this back room and we could turn it into a creativity room, because I know one thing about Rapunzel is she loves to paint. So we could add an easel, we could add like some canvases in there. So this time I'm gonna try and get a pale purple swatch like this. I need some more money, so I'm opening up the cheats, which I just did by Control-Shift-C, and I'm gonna type in jackpot. That's gonna give me 50 grand. Or I actually just made this custom purple like leafy wallpaper. That might also work. Okay, well let's first of all grab the easel. I'll add this right here. I wish I could add some art onto into these canvases so they weren't blank, but I'm gonna add a few here too. And then I need a surface to add some of my paint stuff. So I've added that stump there for now, and on top I'm gonna add some of the brushes with the palette. For some wall decor, I'm gonna use this sunshine art. And there is a spot in the back there that's perfect for a couch. So I'm just gonna shrink it a little bit so it fits better into that space. And I think I'm gonna do some custom window boxes as like plant decor. So I place those, and now I can go in and place whatever kind of like flowers I want. So now I have some planters up there. I also want to add some flower pillows, I think. I also love this stool. It could be great for adding blankets on there. And I also think I want to change it up and add some accent walls in here. So far, this is the creativity room. I love that little couch with the planters. I have room over here, so I may as well add more stuff. These look like they could be made into lockers, which have like art storage in them. So I just made 2 of those. I'm cluttering this area with a bunch of plants. This is also a good spot for some more paint clutter. I feel like this would also be a good spot for one of these mirrors. So I just added a big one there, and I feel like it pulls that space together. Of course, if it's an art studio, we need some art in here. I added this picture there of those lanterns, and that reminded me of that scene. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some extra lighting up top. Okay, so this is how our room turned out for Rapunzel. This is a super cute creativity room. I also did add the hairbrush on the stool right there. We've got all the florals, we've got the art. I also like the other side a lot too with that big mirror. I feel like it works really well with the shape of that archway too. Before going upstairs, I did finish up the bathroom. I added a bathtub in here with some clutter on the shelves, and I also finished up the bathroom upstairs in a similar style. Okay, coming upstairs, next we're going to do some bedrooms. So for the first bedroom, we are going to be doing it for Belle. This one is going to be so fun because we're going to have a big focus on the academic part. Belle loves to read, she loves books, so we're going to have a ton of bookshelves in there, lots of book clutter, and then of course we need the rose decor. We're going to have blue and yellow. This is going to be pretty. For Belle's bedroom, I knew I wanted to frame her bed with some bookshelves. So I sized 2 of them up and laid them out on each side, and then I added a bed in the center of them with her iconic yellow to check for spacing. Once I had the spacing, I went in with the toggle tool and just adjusted the bookshelves a little bit, but I didn't want to stop there with the clutter, so I also added some shelves going over top of the bed, and on here, this is where we can go in and add even more book clutter. I also wanted to symbolize some of the characters from Beauty and the Beast, so I also added in little clutter pieces like a teapot, a small teacup, and of course a candlestick. And on top of that, I also downloaded some pictures of them as well. Then for decor on the wall, I found this beautiful picture of Beast and this picture of Belle. I added a rustic ottoman here with some blanket clutter, and I basically wanted books to be scattered all over the room. I added a big mirror in the corner. I customized the rug swatches to match her dresses, and with even more clutter added, this is how Belle's bedroom turned out. I really like the cluttered bookshelves with the little pictures on there. I also added some red roses. I like the cluttered ottoman by the door, and in the corner I just added another table with even more book clutter. Spinning forward, the next bedroom we're going to do Snow White. This is also going to be an older style of bedroom. We'll aim for older like cottagecore furniture. We need the animal imagery, the apple. So for this room I went with an older looking gray wood wallpaper. I went with this blue and red bed, but I knew I wanted to bring in some yellow too, so I had to use the toggle tool to bring this up so I could properly place them on the bed. Above the bed I placed a fancy mirror. I sized up this rug underneath. I added some end tables, and I knew I needed to add some of the birds in here too. So I actually wanted to raise this one and put it on top of the headboard. So I placed him there like that. I added some plants in the corner. I added a dresser, and the game actually already had this apple art. It was looking super cute, but I did still want to add in the 7 dwarves somehow. And looking through our menu, we didn't really have any gnomes or anything like that, but we did have elf on a shelf. So I unfortunately will be adding 7 of these scattered somewhere throughout the room. Oh my gosh, you can make their legs even bigger. All right, now we unfortunately have 7 elves on the shelves in Snow White's bedroom. And spinning forward, the final bedroom, it will be for Jasmine. We are going to use the tiger couch today. When I've done this challenge before in The Sims 4, Jasmine's bedroom has been one of my favorites. Her aesthetic always translates so nicely. We're definitely going to need some tiger imagery. We're going to have her iconic blue. Maybe we can find the magic carpet and the lantern. So like I said, we're definitely using the tiger couch for Jasmine's bedroom, but I'm going to pull it across because I want to turn this into a headboard. That way I can add little pillows in there. We can make it look nice and cozy. And actually I'm moving all of this forward so that behind there I can add add a bunch of plants. Underneath there, I'm gonna add a rug. I'm adding this super cute picture here between the windows. I'm adding a patterned rug in the corner. I also want a cozy seating spot with some ottomans. And I'm also gonna be using some of these jars here as decor. Then on this side, we just need a dresser. I'll put a mirror above it. We can add some more cute clutter on there. And with everything, this is how Jasmine's bedroom turned out. I love how the tiger bed turned out. The picture looks so cute and that seating area in the corner. They also recently added this tiger plushie with the unpacking collab they did. So of course I had to add him there too. On the dresser, I also added some cute pictures. I just think having your custom photos is so fun. And for the rest of the house upstairs, I just pulled it together with this seating area. I tried to match some of the aesthetics that we had in the rest of the house, and I feel like this spot turned out really cute. So that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know which bedroom was your favorite. And I'm definitely down to do a bunch more of these themed builds, so let me know any more that you want to see in Paralives. If you like the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.